Cleveland Browns are the best team in the NFL, and nobody knows it. During the 2023 offseason, the Cleveland Browns have made some moves that have turned them from a 7-10 team into Super Bowl locks. Yet, these moves have gone under the radar of pretty much every fan who's not rooting for the Cleveland Browns, and that includes the national media. But before I get to what many fans, YouTubers, and media members are saying, I have to go over the moves the Browns have made. Let's start with the moves they've made to make this D-line go from worst to first. Last year, it was a one-man show with Myles Garrett being the ringleader. He had 16 sacks last season, and just a reminder, he got in a car crash, missed one game, and still put up those sacks. Taven Bryan had the second most sacks on the team with just 3. Jadeveon Clowney was a complete no-show last season with 2 sacks after putting up 9.5 the year before. To fix this train wreck of a group, they got Dalvin Tomlinson, who is a beast of a man at 6'3 and 325 pounds that is an elite run stopper. Then, they brought in rotational player Ogbonna Okoronkwo, who is a great young player with Super Bowl experience from when he won it all with the Los Angeles Rams in 2022. But the biggest addition has to be Za'Darius Smith. The man had 10 sacks last season while playing through a serious knee injury. Not to mention, he's a consistent lock to make the Pro Bowl every year. The Browns made a couple of other good moves on defense, like re-signing Anthony Walker and Sione Takitaki, 2 formidable linebackers. But the last big move they made on this side of the ball was bringing the electric safety from the 2023 Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, Juan Thornhill. Juan is a hard-hitting ball-hawk safety who's big playmaking abilities.
Took over at their own 25. Sails one into the end zone and intercepting. 70 seconds to play in the quarter. Stidham loads up, deep shot. And it's intercepted. Juan Thornhill. Wilson comfortable in the pocket. Bounces off the hands of Dulcich.
He is a big upgrade over former overrated safety John Johnson III. This guy can tackle if his life depended on it. And even worse, he was getting torched by Baker Mayfield and Joe Flacco last year.
Mayfield back to the air, wide open. It's Thomas barreling, and a touchdown-saving tackle by Johnson. Mayfield backpedaling, wide open is his man, Anderson. The Jets. Flacco over the middle, it's caught. Touchdown.
But that's besides the point. The Browns signed a proven winner in Juan Thornhill who will take the league by storm this year. I mean, look at the guy. He's wearing number 1 because he's the quarterback's number 1 fear. I'm declaring his side of the field Thornhill Island. Adding all of those additions to Brown studs that were already on the team like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and Martin Emerson will make this defense elite. Now, on to the offense. The Browns already had an elite offense last year, but Deshaun Watson was shaking off the rust from not playing football for 2 years. He went 3-3 while playing below average, so I want you to just imagine what his record will be once he goes back to MVP form this year. I want you to lock in my stat prediction for Watson this season. His stats will be 4,300 rushing yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks, 500 rushing yards, and 5 rushing touchdowns. Bring me my receipts at the end of the year when he's an MVP lock. Of course, the Browns also have the best running back in football, Nick Chubb, who will win the rushing title this year. They also have elite wide receiver Amari Cooper and solid role player Donovan Peoples-Jones. That brings me to my next additions. Wide receivers Elijah Moore and Marquise Goodwin. Let's start with Moore. Former second-round pick Moore has flown under the radar in his last 2 years playing. This mainly has to do with the garbage quarterbacks he's had to play with. This year, he will jump from good to elite. The other receiver, Marquise Goodwin, has the second fastest 40 time for a wide receiver in the history of the NFL and will be a great deep threat for Watson to throw to. They also added Cedric Tillman from the draft, but he will most likely be learning behind the veterans. The last weapon on this offense is superstar David Njoku. He's one of the best young tight ends to ever play the game and will have a breakout season with Watson at QB. And the last part of the offense worth talking about is the O-line. The Browns O-line is easily a top 5 unit with Joe Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin, Ethan Pochik, and lastly, Jedrick Wills. Now that I've covered the team, it's time to get to the critics. First up, Colin Cowherd.
So I have Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I don't buy Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. The market loves him. I don't. Schedule's pretty easy. Don't love him. AFC North, this looks like how I would see it. Bengals and Ravens are the playoff teams. I would put the Steelers ahead of the Browns. I'm not buying Cleveland at all. I think the owner now has too big of a say. That's bad news.
Colin ranks the Browns low in seemingly all of his rankings, but then gives no valid reasons for why they will fail. Just remember, this is the same guy saying the Broncos and Steelers will take the Ravens and Chargers place in the playoffs. And I hate the Ravens, but come on. Small hands Pickett and washed Russell Wilson over Lamar and Herbert. There's just no way. Next up, Tom Grossi and Brandon Perna. These two sports YouTubers, successful in their own right, have a podcast where whenever the Browns come up, they always rank them low for one reason.
No. What is happening? I look away for 3 seconds at the chat, and you put Deshaun Watson up there. What are you doing?
For some reason, these two think Deshaun Watson will never play good again and never go any further than that. I honestly think these two just don't like Watson personally and they can't separate art from the artist. Now, here are some of the people that are choosing facts over feelings. First up is Wyatt's World, who is a sports YouTuber that I watch quite often. His takes on the Browns are spot on, and he is not afraid to say what he thinks.
And in first place, we got the Browns because I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Again, I just think this roster is the best in the division, and if Deshaun Watson can play at a fraction of the level he was at in Houston, they are going to take the division with ease. Now we are on to Cleveland. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid again. I'm giving them 11. They're gonna be good if Deshaun is good. That's really the only impending factor here. If Deshaun Watson converts to Houston Deshaun Watson, that team legitimately might not lose a single game.
He also is one of the few people who thinks Odell does not make the Ravens a playoff contender. I mean, seriously, the dude's coming off his second ACL tear at 30 years old. Wyatt is definitely one of the people who will be asking for receipts after the Browns win the Super Bowl. Lastly, you've Matthew Peterson over at the Browns Report by Chat Sports Channel. This man is a dog and knows what's up when it comes to the Browns.
Against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Cool Joe is 1-5 all time against Cleveland in his career. Not worried. How about the cowards in Cincinnati? The Bengals tweeted out the dumbest thing yesterday. It was a video from the Browns-Bengals game on Halloween when Cleveland curb stomped Cincinnati, and Cincinnati decided, you know what? Let's share one of our our only touchdown from that game, I think. Anyway, a T. Higgins touchdown in the fourth quarter of a blowout, and go, to ease your off-season blues, here's a highlight from a game we got shit pumped in. Surely that's not going to go poorly on Twitter. And like 45 minutes later, they deleted it. So shout out to the cowards in Cincinnati who can't even stand by their own.
He is the definition of a true Browns fan who gives the best takes whenever the Browns make a move, and you can tell he's truly excited whenever something big happens for the Browns. Now that's it for the video. Now you guys know why the Browns will win the Super Bowl, you guys know who to trust and who not to, and I think I could speak for all of us when I say this, I am ready for some football. And lastly, make sure to follow my socials and go Browns.